So, of course it is to be said, um, if you use your headphones as a type of earmuff in the colder areas, these are not the things to use. The breeze goes right through it. You feel that chill, again, to be expected. But you know, it's just one of those things that you just think about when you're in it because it's a little nippy outside. And I'm rocking these guys. And yeah, my ears are a little bit cold.
Now everybody scream enough respect to the X. Enough respect given.
So throughout the video, I'm going to be calling these things the NVMs. They're actually called the NWM One. I don't know why I thought that it was a V. My mistake. But just so you know, in case you want to look these things up, it's the NWM One, not the NVM. All right, back to the video. All right, people. Today I'm a little excited. I got the NWM One headphones. Now, if you don't know what these are open-ear overhead headphones. The first of its kind, if I remember correctly. I can't remember anything else that quite had a look or design or does what these headphones do. I ordered these because I had seen them online and they just seemed so unique in their appearance. I was really curious how well they worked and how well they did sound for what they are. So here it says NW1. The paper kind of attaches to the bottom there and you just kind of unfold it. And the case it comes in is the case for the earbuds. So that's actually kind of cool. Now, when you open it, it's kind of like a suitcase. So here are the headphones themselves. You can already tell from looking at these what a unique design these are. We'll go into more depth of the design in a minute, but let's see what else is in the box or the case. That's it. USB-C to USB-C, one cord to rule them all. The case itself is extremely light. I don't think it's very durable though. Whatever it's made out of will protect it from slight drops, but nothing too crazy. I think that this thing could get damaged pretty easily if enough force was pushed on it. And I don't mean a large amount, because look, I can just squeeze it and you always see the kind of break coming in the case. So these things, or this case, offers minimal protection at best. But at least it's a case and not like a bag, like some of these more expensive headphones come with. The first thing I'll say is they are smaller than I thought they would be. I've seen these things online on YouTube, other YouTubers wearing them, talking about them, and they always seemed bigger to me. The next thing I'll say is they don't feel as heavy as I thought they might be. I know there's a huge space in the middle here where, you know, it goes around your ear to allow the sound to come through, but I thought they'd be a little heavier than they are. They do feel very quality made though, if not a little bit flimsy, simply because there's so much space around everything. Let's take off these papers here and get to the device itself. And here they are, unwrapped and ready to go. All right, so we can extend the arms here. There's a little metal extension piece. This should be able to fit most people's heads. They have a good amount of give. I don't feel like I'm gonna snap these in half when I pull it out to this extension here. My head is not this big. I'm pretty sure someone's head is. And I do have a lot of headphones that if you go past the midpoint, you feel like they might snap. These do not do that, so that's a plus. Nice little click, and I'm glad it's not like a touch panel. But a lot of these things have touch panels now, and if your hands are wet or dirty, they don't always work as they should. Though I don't see a way to change tracks on this. Or maybe that is a swipe, but the paper didn't say that, so I guess we'll have to see. Now we have two naked cords here. I don't know if I like that. If something was to happen, I don't know how they could get snagged, but anything is possible. These cords get snagged, and there goes your $300 open-ear, over-ear headphone. But that does allow for the movement here. So one thing about these, just looking at it, it does allow for a great deal of movement. You know, get the feel, get the comfort exactly how you want. These can tilt forward and back, and where the sound comes from themselves, these speakers can kind of bend in the direction of your ear. I thought they'd have more play to it, but there's a nice little click here, there. It lets you know exactly how far you can go so you don't push it too far. And both of them just kind of bend back, better position themselves to shoot the music into your ear and still leave the space between the speaker and your ear to hear what's going on around you. Now, the arms. Somehow the extension is actually connected. Like if I pull on one, the other one shortens. If I pull on this one here, shortens again. So they can close up to be completely flush with the headpiece. But when you pull them out to their full length, somehow they connect, and when you try to adjust them, pulling on one shortens the other one. A little annoying, because now one of them will always be the right length that I want it to be, while the other one will not. There's no in between, because somehow the arms are connected to each other. This piece here is surprisingly very comfortable, and because it's a soft plastic as opposed to some kind of fur-like material, you know, this soft plastic, I guess it's akin to what you would find on like a pair of XM3, something like that. It's actually really comfy, and because it's nice and thin here, you really don't feel uncomfortable as you wear these things. Very well designed, very interesting design. We will be using the Pixel 9 for this. I'm putting this phone through its paces, so what better device to use if I'm trying to see exactly how these work. See if this thing has any power. There we go. That's the Bluetooth light. I'm gonna hold. There we go. It's trying to sync. Let's go to settings. Unlike the Apple or Google earbuds with the little chip in it, these don't automatically pop up. There we go. New pair device. And here we have the NWM. Sure, allow it. Let's see what this thing can do. Pair. Not sure why it went to the Pixel Buds, but let's see if these things are paired. Two devices paired. Active. It has 47% battery, so they sense it with about just under half charge. Not the worst. All right, let's do the fit test. How they go on my head. If they fit at all. You know what? And they do. But I am going to say this. It feels odd. Simply because you're used to having some kind of pressure on your ear. There's absolutely nothing there. You feel the pressure on your head, as wide as these go. I would prefer if they went a little lower in the arm, but I feel like it's just cupping around my ear. If it was a little lower, just a little more give there, I'd be more comfortable with it on. But aside from that, I know it might even be my hat, but I doubt my hat is not that thick. But yeah, but aside from that, they're on. It looks about how I would expect them to look, just odd enough, just unique enough to be interesting. And the opening around the ear, feeling that breeze or that cool air come through again is different. We're going to be playing from Spotify on my Pixel 9 Sticker Brush Symphony. Feel free to listen along. These sound better than expected, mainly because they're open ear. When you have open ear earbuds, you don't expect the sound to be that great. It's just the way these things are. But again, the type of open ears these are, the amount of power they have going to these larger speakers, it's not just a clip behind your ear. It's really trying to blast that sound in, and it's doing a pretty decent job. Now, this what I'm playing is more of a classical piece, so it's based on Donkey Kong. So not very heavy bass, well, that's to be expected. So let's see how this thing deals with more upbeat sounds. So the song I chose to listen to now is Michelin's Cipher by Epic High. I chose it because there's a really clean bass line going through the entire track, and like I said, I want to hear how these things handled really good bass. Now, I have to say they do a pretty decent job. Is it better than other over-the-head or over-ear headphones that you may have? Probably not, but that is because they have this opening on the side. You can only expect so much from headphones designed to keep the outside world also coming in while balancing what you're hearing through your headphones. Now, for what they are, it does sound actually pretty good, better than I thought. The bass is clean, the lines are clean, the separation of the instruments is surprisingly clear enough that I can differentiate the different sounds coming through. Now, as far as controls for the headphones go, I was concerned that there wasn't a way to change tracks. It might be a swipe or a touch. Apparently, it's those same two buttons that we saw during the unboxing. The buttons I thought were volume up and volume down are actually all the physical controls for the headphones as well. By pressing what I thought was volume down at the top, raises the volume up. Press it at the bottom, volume down. Now, what I thought was another volume button is actually the stop. And play. Now, if you press it twice, you'll go to the next track. And if you press it 3 times, you'll start the track over or go to the previous track, depending on when you press the button 3 times. So all of the inputs on these headphones are tactile. I do appreciate that very much, because all these touches and swipes and all that don't always work as intended, especially if you're wearing gloves or your hands are cold, the headphones are dirty. So many factors can contribute to the touch panels not working properly. Just having a good old-fashioned button or a click wheel works best in these scenarios, in my opinion. And I appreciate the fact that these headphones have that. Looking at the audio app for the NWM One or the M801, there's not much going on in the app itself. It's nothing like the Sony app or any of the Bose or even the LG apps. It's very bare bones. You have access to your audio device type, spatial audio, experimental LE audio, and allow your contacts. I am curious as to why this hasn't been set automatically. Let's do this. Headphones. At least now the phone knows. Now when I turn on the LE audio, the sound stops. But when you go back in to your sound, it's louder, more rich. Again, not as good as what you get from enclosed over-ear headphones, but the sound is much improved. And it's not just the volume, it's all the different components of the song itself. It just cleans it up. And it cleans it up enough that it's a significant improvement. Why you would use this without this experimental sound, I don't know. But it is to note that with this sound on, the amount of noise from the outside world is cut down. Though I'm still hearing what's going on at my daughter's game here. They're getting ready to play. People are talking. Coaches are telling the girls what they do. It's not as clear as it was before I turned on the LE audio. So you gotta keep that in mind. It does take away from the purpose of these headphones. Now there's also an official NWM app. I didn't realize this till after I found the Bluetooth app with what I just showed you guys. Now, when you connect the device, all of their products do show up. I didn't realize they had that many of them. I chose, the NWMs, and sure enough, you see the battery power, you see the Bluetooth, but to my surprise, they also had an equalizer. And in this, there wasn't really much. They had the balance, more bass. They also had more treble for those who like the higher end. Clear for those who do their audiobooks. That might be me, or would be me, because I listen to those a lot. Dynamic. That's how I play most of my headphones. Everything coming in really vibrant. Now there's user settings. I think there's maybe 5 of these. These are what you use to customize the sound to how exactly you like it for certain types of music. Going through it all, the app again is bare bones. At least it has the equalizer, which was missing from the on-device Bluetooth app for the headphones. Now, going into the controls, though I knew all of these, I still thought it was good to just look through, see if there's anything that I missed. And now the standby I wasn't aware of. You can actually get into your personal assistant with this. I thought that was also good to know. I didn't know about power off and power on, but now at least I got to see all of the applications for these buttons and have a better understanding on how to use these headphones. It would be good if these things had some kind of adaptive noise control, because as you move through the various environments, inside to outside, parking lot to store, the noise comes in and your volume doesn't adjust to that. So it would be great if the headset had some kind of smarts to it that it knew I want my volume here and adjust the volume accordingly to balance out with what is coming in. So I'm sure you guys can hear the noise going on in the back, freezers going, music in the background from the supermarket that I'm in. And you know, listen to these at my regular level, all of this external noise drowns out what I'm trying to hear. Well, the volume on these is such that you can't just turn it up and get back into your listening groove. It's just that I'm used to doing it by itself. Not these in particular, but other headphones with more, smart features. These are very bare bones. The app is very bare bones. The headphones themselves are very bare bones. There are no smart features to it at all. And you kind of forget that is how most headphones are now. They have a lot of smart and AI features built in to make the experience that much more, comfortable for you, but that much more convenient for you. From being able to tell when there's a bus coming or alarms, adjusting the sound to match the environment, adjusting the sound itself to match your mood sometimes is crazy. Being able to turn off or pause when you take them off of your head help. Being able to turn down the music when you begin to talk. All these features that we take for granted now are no longer or aren't part of these headphones. So you really are just left with a very bare bones set that looks unique, sounds alright, but that's about it. Now, I was able to make a phone call on these while outside, and the only issue that I had was, again, they let in so much of the outside world that, the call itself, the caller was somewhat drowned out. I can't be mad at that. It's to be expected, as this is what these things were made for. But again, it is to know that's what you're getting into. As far as playing music, the sound still came through strong enough for me to enjoy what I was listening to. I was able to talk to people in the store just fine without having to adjust the volume. It did what it is supposed to be doing. Now, one of the issues that you will have with these is sound bleed. My wife was playing BTS while wearing these, and I was able to hear the song she was playing. Not super clear, don't get me wrong, I wasn't able to sing along with it, but I was able to tell that she was listening to something on these headphones. Now, I'm not saying that the sound is so bad you'll hear it across the room. I wasn't across the room by any means, a few feet away, but just something to keep in mind. If you get something like these, if you're sitting on a bus or a train or wherever you might be trying to wear them, what you are listening to will be able to be heard by the person beside you, and maybe a few feet from you as well, depending on how loud you have it going. So, 3 days of consistent, no, actually 4 days of consistent listening, few hours a day, 4 or 5 hours easy, and these things are just reaching 14%. So the lack of smarts does help the battery life, because it's doing nothing but playing music. No extra sensors doing anything extra. No AI assistant doing anything. Well, it does have it. I don't particularly use it. So in that aspect, pretty good. Now, like I say, they do carry really good sound for what they are. The sound separation is surprisingly clean. You know, you can make out the different instruments in most of these tracks. You know, not as crisp as a more high-end headphone to be sure, but I know I can't even say for what you pay because you are paying somewhat of a premium price for these. But for open ear headphones, I was surprised at how clean the sound was. The bass not as heavy, again, due to the type of headphone, but more than good enough for what they are. Again, surprisingly so. The only other open ear headset I've used that is comparable, well, they're better, but these are a little bit under, are the Bose open ear earbuds. But those things sounded amazing. These are a little bit under that, but they still carry the same price point, which I guess is acceptable because these are over the head headphones. Those things hurt. These things don't. These actually feel really comfy for what they are. I do like the tuning of these as well. I don't really talk about the tuning of these things much, but again, I'm surprised. I was able to hear certain beats within the song that with other headphones, even other more high-end headphones, I didn't hear as clearly. But again, it's how they tuned these. They seem to bring out some of the sounds from the back end more. I guess because they know they can't really concentrate on bass and percussion because again, it gets lost with the open ear design. So they seem to have focus more on the instruments that live in the back of these songs. There's a lot of little hums and grunts and little hits and little twangs that, you know, aren't as clear in some of my other headphones, and in this one, it kind of brought them up to the forefront just a bit more, so they were easier to make out, and it did make for a really nice composition of the song I was hearing. Would I recommend people get these? Only certain types of people. If you really need, well, let me rephrase. If you are not a fan of earbuds, some people just don't like having buds in their ear or things like that. I completely understand. And if you don't like these ear clips that are becoming more popular, but again, don't rest in there. This clip alongside the ear. There's a few of them out there. These might be something you want to look into because again, I have the Bose 2 reference. They both carry the same price point, but this has a much more unique look, at least for what they are for open over-the-ear headphones. You're not going to find anything quite like this on the market. Actually, there is nothing like this. I'm pretty sure they patented this design. This is a very unique design for any type of headphone. So, do I like these? Yes, I actually like them very much. I can see myself using them to go on walks just outside, not for anything that I need to, you know, keep the sound out. Like, I'm not going to take these to the gym. But if I just want to go for a walk and I don't want to use earbuds, I want to hear the song that I'm listening to, you know, in a very pleasant manner while allowing the outside world in. Maybe I'm at the park with the kids. I want to be able to hear what they're doing and still enjoy what I am doing. Things like that. I can see something like this being, you know, a pretty good investment. Speaking of investment, I don't think they're worth $300. These are sold for $199, no, even better, $179. But I'd feel better recommending something like these. But at $300, I think you're paying a premium for a device that is not quite premium. So with that said, my name is NG, the Neonex, and enjoying these NWM open-ear over-the-head headphones for what they are. This is what I'm into.